We're joined today by Eric Bergner, Research Director for Storage for IDC. Eric, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here, Kix.
All right, let's start by diving into what's happened over the last year in flash.
Absolutely. So we've got a new forecast to share with you hot off the presses, and what we've seen is a further acceleration in the all-flash array market. So what we tend to see each time we relook at the forecast is the all-flash array forecast revenues get a little larger, and the other revenues for hybrid flash arrays and HDD only shrink a little bit faster than what we had thought. And so we've clearly seen that in this forecast. So the 5-year compound annual growth rate for the all-flash array market is now up to 26.2%, and that'll generate about $9.3 billion in revenue by 2020 for all-flash arrays. So clearly, they are coming to dominate the primary storage arena very rapidly, taking over from the legacy systems of the past.
Awesome time to be in the storage industry. So what's driving this increased growth of all-flash?
Yeah, you know, what I think is happening is as people started to use the systems more, put more workloads on them, and really see how these systems can perform at scale, they're starting to really realize what the compelling economic benefits are of flash deployment at scale. And so there's not only just the performance benefits that you get out of flash, which clearly is something that everybody understands, but there's a lot of other benefits you get in terms of improved reliability, improved infrastructure density, lower power consumption, lower floor space consumption. You need fewer servers. There's a variety of what we call secondary economic benefits. And I think people are really coming to understand just how much of a contributor to the bottom line this is as they shift from older systems that were designed around HDDs to newer systems that were really built with flash in mind.
That's great. I remember the early days of all flash, everybody's reaction was, it's just too good to be true. So it sounds like it's living up to its promise.
It does appear to be, yeah.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and look at what's going to drive flash growth over the next decade. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing with the cloud era and how that's changing how people think about flash.
Yeah, so you know, as we move into the cloud era, this is an inflection point in the industry for all flash arrays, and we're going to see a new set of baseline requirements come into play that will drive people's purchase criteria, purchase intentions, et cetera. So let me talk a little bit about some of the things we're seeing, some of the changes we're seeing. In the past, most of the primary flash arrays were sold for block-based environments, but going forward, we're starting to see people want to deploy these for other types of unstructured workloads. And so in the future, we really see all flash arrays playing not only in the primary sort of block-based storage area, but also in other secondary storage areas where file and object storage will be of interest. These systems also will need to perform at different levels of scale than in the past. So clearly people want to put more workloads onto them, and these systems will in effect be used as the general purpose enterprise storage platform of choice. So dense mixed workload consolidation is going to be part of this.
Yeah,
so
that's one of the interesting things about cloud era design is you have massive consolidation where you need kind of performance en masse, but you also have particular workloads that drive an amazingly low latency or high performance at times, so you kind of need both the micro and the macro.
Absolutely, and the consistency of performance you get out of flash is one of the things that's very attractive to people when they're looking at handling those types of, you know, a varied mix of workloads there. Some of the other things we see, so extremely high infrastructure density. In other words, for a given U of rack space, what sort of business metrics can I drive? How many page views per second? How much profit per hour? Those types of things become very important, and we've clearly seen in these newer designs significantly increased storage density, much broader use of storage efficiency technologies that further increase the storage density by increasing the effective capacity. And obviously you've got to have the performance to be able to match with that level of increased density. So that's going to be another big part of these next generation arrays that we see.
That's a neat trend, seeing customers start to link the infrastructure benefits to the end benefits to their business. So when they're thinking what flash can do on a density basis for their end revenue, that's a cool transformation.
Well, and you know, it's one that's very evident to people that deploy these systems, particularly if they're moving from older HDD-based systems. They may increase or decrease their floor space by 70 to 80% when they move to an all-flash array. So I mean, it's very evident for these people. And one other major area I wanted to mention that we see as important in this next generation of flash arrays will be more of a movement to software-defined capability, which really matches well with the flexibility that people need as they move further into the cloud era. And you know, we've forecast that the industry overall is moving towards hybrid IT. In other words, there's going to be some on-prem, some cloud, whether that's private or public, off-prem, and you need flexibility to be able to manage those kind of environments. So these new arrays will have to have an ability to integrate well into cloud environments.
So you're diving into software a little bit. Tell us more broadly what you see as the recipe for this cloud era of Flash. How is it different from traditional designs for AFAs?
Yeah, so there are some very specific changes. So one of the biggest ones is that these new Flash-driven or Flash-native designs will have NVMe technologies at the core. And you're going to see vendors removing all vestiges of SCSI and HDD design. Those issues, things like SAS, SATA, they get in the way, really. They cause problems with the I/O stack because of latencies, and when you have Flash, there's no need for that stuff anymore. So I think we're going to see more of a direct connection between what the applications require and ability to actually get to the storage on the back end, and NVMe is going to be the core. So that's going to be one of the key areas. Another key area is going to be these systems need to have the full complement of data services so that they can manage multi-tenant environments very effectively. And so that goes far beyond just things like data reduction, snapshots, and replication, but also includes things like encryption, quality of service, and basically tools that let you move workloads around more easily and manage these multi-tenant environments as you need to. And so this really sets a new bar in terms of the performance capabilities that people will start to expect just over the course of the next 12 months as they're buying these arrays with their eye on the future, and realizing that they're going to have to be able to create significant infrastructure density because they want to put more and more workloads onto these systems.
All right, thanks Eric for sharing IDC's perspective on the cloud era Flash recipe. We're excited as Pure Storage to really help drive the transition to this next generation of cloud era Flash solutions. And as you might guess, we've got some exciting news to share today. Thanks again for being here with us today, Eric.
You bet, Kix. Thanks for having me.